All right, hi everybody. I'm going to show you how to do a really quick scene using the Unity Playground. Um, this does have a few glitches and things, so what we're going to try to do is just get the very basics down. I'll kind of introduce some of the scripting and different things. Like I said, it won't work perfectly at this point, but it'll be a good introduction to how you can maybe think about scripts, kind of similar to Click Team Fusion from that class. So the first thing is I am in a blank scene. I just made a universal 2D project. So my scene looks like this. You can see in a 2D scene, the only thing I have is a camera, which is right here. And I always just hit F to kind of center it. And the first thing I'm going to add is a background. So once you have imported the project, you're going to have this Unity Technologies. And then you're going to have your images. You can see this is kind of grouped by different backgrounds and art and things like that. These are just sprites. So for this one, I'm going to use this city right here. And I'm going to use the game window to kind of center it a little bit. And then I'm just going to keep everything in one frame for right now, just to make sure that everything is looking okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and start adding my characters and some things like that. So you can see I have this folder here called creatures, and I'm just going to pick this robot. I'm going to add it. Now you'll notice when I add it, it's going to have this sort of, it's going to be behind this level. So I'm going to go ahead and just change its layer so that I can see it on my frame, which looks like this. And then I'm going to just create a very simple kind of maze just to illustrate like making the level, adding the win object, that type of stuff. So when I go back, I'm going to find a block, and for this scene, I'm just going to use this. Now, one thing that I like to do is once I have this sort of set up like that and I've changed the layer, another thing I'm going to add here, just to keep things simple, is I'm going to add a box collider to my character. Just make sure you pick the 2D one. And I'm also going to add my box collider to my block. Now, from here, I'm going to hit copy, and then I'm just going to hit paste. Now you'll notice when it added it, it kind of put it on the same level, which is fine. And again, I'm making something just as a demo. You could change a lot of this so that you could make it a maze for the character. But once I've done this once, I'm just going to make this sort of level like this. Okay, so something really easy to do right there. And you can see that just by doing this a little bit at a time, it'll make it a little bit easier for me to, if I have this block and I've already added the conditions, by doing this, it just makes it faster. Okay. Now, another thing I like to do is I like to make an empty game object, and I'll just call it something like blocks. And then I'll take all of these blocks here and I'll just put them in here. And that kind of cleans up my hierarchy some. It makes it a little bit easier to manage like this. And you can move each one if you want, but now it's a little bit easier to see. Okay. So I'm also going to add a player, so you can see here, like I've got all of this stuff. I have this game element, and I'm going to pick this flag right here. Okay, now same thing. I'm going to change the layer to 1, and I'm also going to go ahead and add a box collider to this. Now, where the scripting comes in is I want to think about what I need to happen. Now, in this case, I will just need this to, I'm just going to have it restart the scene each time I build the level. So if I go into my scripts here, you're going to see that I have a movement script. So just to keep things easy again, I'm going to go ahead and add this move script onto my robot right here. You can see that. I'm going to make the speed a little bit lower, and I'm going to hit play just to make sure that it works. Okay, and I can move my character. You can see that the colliders, now I do have like a jump button and stuff, but again, I'm just kind of getting a feel for how this works. So there's my scene. Okay. And the next thing is I really just want this to restart when I add or when I finish the level. So one of the, like if you look at the script, you're going to have these. conditional statements. Now, for this one, again, to keep things easier, I'm just going to add this and I'm going to type in condition area. And you'll notice again, it's going to look for a couple of things. It's going to say, do you want to happen only once, which is yes. And then I'm going to filter by tag and it's going to say player. So I want to make sure that my robot has this player tag on it, which is right there. And then the next thing is I'm going to add a gameplay option. Now you're going to see this say like load level action, which is right here. And it's just going to say reload level. You'll want to also make sure on your collider that you click this is trigger button so that it will actually reload. So what I want to see now is when I hit this flag, does it just restart the level, which is the main goal. So let's just see, when I hit this flag, I should go to the beginning and it works. Okay, so for a very basic level, this will be something that we can use. Now, as an overview, just to kind of get used to how these scripts work, you'll also notice we could add a lot of other conditions. Some of them are dependent on what you'll see here, which is this prefabs, and you're going to see when I go here, I have this user interface script, which will allow us to do things like have a score. So, for instance, if we need it to go to, like, if we want to just collect coins or if we want to make sure that we don't collide with anything, then that would be the next step. All right, so that is the very basics of the conditions. And again, mostly this is just so that you get an idea of how each of these scripts works. It's more of a way to like plan out how to make a game than it is for the gameplay actions, but it is a good introduction to some of the things that when you're building a game, the basic functions that games will have.